Okay, before I begin my review, I really should address something that happened with some copies of Sailor Moon number 5. Now, my copy I bought at Walmart a week ahead of the Amazon sale date. Now, if you follow NJ, you'll probably note that there's been a couple of users that have gotten some copies of the book from Amazon, and there's smudging on the pages. I'm happy to report that the Walmart print seems to be smudge-free. As you can see, Demande and Sailor Moon look about fine. Remove my bookmark. The Sailor Senshi look fine. And this was the big blemish that I saw. Now in my copy, Sailor Jupiter and Sailor Mars look just fine. And it doesn't look like any further damage has been done. Now, because of the damage of these other copies, I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Amazon has some explaining to do. Those smudges are what happens either when you have too much ink on the printer or when your book has been exposed to water damage. Speaking as a longtime Amazon customer, I can definitely say that this is something that you need to take up with Amazon. This does not look like a Kodansha problem. This looks like water damage has happened. So if I was you, I would contact Amazon immediately and ask for an exchange. Well, now that that bit of business has been taken care of, this is my review of Sailor Moon number 5. This is the book that closes out the Black Moon story arc, and wow, there's a lot of plot changing that goes on. Now, if you're a fan of the anime, I'm going to warn you right now, the following images are going to really shatter whatever you thought you knew about Sailor Moon. If you missed out on the manga before, you've got a really great chance to catch up. You're going to notice a lot of big, fat story changes. In my last review, I may or may not have noted that Diana makes an appearance several books ahead of the anime. In the anime, Diana only appears in Sailor Moon Super S. Here she debuts in what we would consider the Sailor Moon R story arc. But I'll get to some of the more technical aspects of that later. Just like before, I have to point out that when they made the reprint manga, they consolidated a lot of the titles into fewer books. The original set was 18 books. They've reduced it to 12. So, when you buy this book, you're actually getting a book and a half. These are the original Tokyo Pop reprints. And you can even tell in the way the covers are drawn that there are some big artwork changes. You know, aside of the fact that this book starts with a spoiler, you're not supposed to see this outfit till Sailor Moon stars. Oopsies. Now, the Japanese version, as you can see, is not only smaller, it's also quite a bit pale. I don't know what happened here. When Kodansha released this book in Japan, a lot of the covers came out very, very pale. The color is completely washed out. I mean, I had to look close to see that these are rainbows in her hand. Whereas the English reprint, this is fixed, and you see all of her beautiful skin tone. The spines are a little bit closer this time around. The Japanese has a little more yellow to it, but it's kind of subtle. And here we have the dazzling back. The Japanese version, we have Sailor V with very pale skin, just like Hotaru. Whereas the English print, her skin tone has been completely restored, and it's just beautiful. And again, we have our warning, and yes, this warning is very much needed. Ages 13 and up. This is definitely not a kid's book. Not as graphic as last month's manga, but definitely you don't want your little brother and sister getting a hold of it. And let's see what the slipcover color is this time. It's a very a very faint orange. Almost mango when you see it in person. Very pale. And again, the English print, everything is in HD. So all of this comes out in nice, vibrant colors. The Japanese print, very pale. I really wish Kodansha had thought about this. Now, remember in my last video, I zoomed in on this picture of Tubulosa in black and white? Well, when this first came out, this picture appeared with one of the last book's stories, book 4, and they printed this picture right on top of a picture of Usagi and Mamoru doing it. Well, this time they corrected that. They put her in a much better place, and she's across from her parents. And this actually looks much more detailed in the English version. The colors are vibrant again. And you can see a lot of detail in the outfit. Oh, and thanks to all of the belly aching from all the fans, they corrected the first page's blunder. This is no longer printed on glossy, this is now printed on regular manga paper. So I don't want to hear any more belly aching. Now, in case you're wondering, this is the first book in the Japanese version where there is no mini manga in the back. Books 2, 3, and 4 have them, and then we don't see any additional manga in the back. So there's no more missing pages. In fact, the English version has some extra pages. Let me show you. You're not going to start getting any more mini manga until next year anyway. This time we have a preview of Sailormoon number 6, and yep, you get your first shot of Hotaru, and, well, we'll find out what her name is going to be next month, in June, I believe. June or July. The link's on the bottom of the video. Now, the Tokyopop version is a printing of the first Japanese print of Sailor Moon. I think I talked about that in another video. If you have both of the books, you're going to notice a lot of big artwork changes. Like, we're not talking subtle differences this time. Like here, we have this little side picture thrown in of Usagi and Mamoru. And then in the reprint, we have a different picture. Originally, this picture didn't appear until a different manga later in the series. I'm not sure why they decided to change this at Kodansha, but could be something Naoko decided, so I'm not going to argue with it. The scene where Usagi is starting to realize how bad the damage is to 30th Century has been changed too. The new print, we have this beautiful digital image of the 30th Century, whereas the Tokyopop version, well, this is all we got. That's just lazy. I can't really show all of the changes. I'm just going to notice the big ones that I noticed. Oh, also, if you can find the Tokyopop book on eBay, you're going to notice some of the language changing too. Like here, Sapphire says, "You must get this across to him," whereas Saphir says, "You absolutely need to warn others." The English print has a much closer translation to the Japanese, less slang, and a lot of the panels are going to make a lot more sense if you have these older Tokyopop books. Again, we have completely different artwork for the scene where Sailor Moon finally is able to transform again. In the Tokyopop version, this is how she was drawn. Longer nose, not much detail in the locket. That's how the original panel with her and the locket started. Whereas in the English reprint, there's more digital screen tone. The eyes are drawn a little bit better. And then we have more shading and detail in the outfit. And of course the brooch is drawn in. And we have better shading in the eyes.